Hello again. My name is Aaron Gauthier, Judge of the 53rd Circuit Court for Sheboygan and Presque counties here in beautiful northern Michigan. This is our next segment of Ask the Judge, where you can view my initial video in this series and type in any questions you might have about the legal system, and I'll do my best to answer them by way of some short videos. This one deals with court jurisdiction in Michigan, or which courts handle which types of cases, or basically, how many courts do we need anyways? We had a question on the video about why divorce cases are heard in the circuit court. And this video attempts to answer that question, as well as answering how the different courts have jurisdiction over the types of cases that they do. So we have to back up a little bit. In the United States, governmental power is divided into three branches. The legislative branch makes the laws. The executive branch enforces the laws and puts them into action. And the judicial branch applies those laws. So the judicial power is really just that, to apply those laws to disputes, criminal and civil disputes. So the Michigan Constitution in Article 6, Section 1 says that the judicial power of the state is vested exclusively in one court of justice, which shall be divided into a Supreme Court, a Court of Appeals, a trial court of general jurisdiction known as the Circuit Court, a probate court, and courts of limited jurisdiction that the legislature may approve. Now, there are 83 counties in Michigan. The courts are generally arranged by county, but not entirely. So there are 57 circuit courts in the state of Michigan, about 100 district courts, and 78 probate courts, in addition to a Court of Appeals and a Michigan Supreme Court. That's a lot of courts. It's a lot of judges. Do we really need that many courts? I think the answer is yes, because the legal issues in the community should be heard by judges in that community. Just like we have representatives for all our communities that go down and represent us in Lansing, we aren't ruled or don't want to be ruled by just the folks in Lansing deciding what the laws are. The peoples of Sheboygan, people of Posen, the people of Wolverine, they need to be able to have a say in their government. And in the same way, the judicial power should be the same, that the people should have a say in who are deciding the disputes under the law. So I think community judges are an important part of the people's self-government. So let's think about these courts from the ground up, the trial courts that resolve these disputes. Courts apply the laws to individual cases in their community. This is what happens at what is commonly called the trial court, as opposed to appeals courts, which we'll touch on in a minute. Now, in a trial court, your case is heard by a single judge. And in Michigan, we've got different types of trial courts, three basic types of trial courts: the probate, the district, and the circuit. The probate court think of it as a specialty court. They handle wills, estates, trusts, guardianships and conservatorships, and mental health treatment issues. And the legislature has also established district courts as courts of limited jurisdiction. So their jurisdiction is limited to matters that generally involve smaller stakes, although they're not small in importance to the people that it affects. Just the stakes are usually a little lower. So for example, in the district court, criminal case jurisdiction is for misdemeanors, punishable by a year in jail or less, traffic citations, landlord-tenant disputes, small claims actions, and general civil lawsuits that involve no more than $25,000. The circuit court is called in our Constitution the Court of General Jurisdiction. So this is the trial court that handles pretty much everything else, the general jurisdiction. So the circuit court handles felony cases, which are crimes punishable by a year or more in prison, all the way up to life in prison. Civil cases that involve more than $25,000 in dispute of damages, or so-called equity cases involving, say, injunctions or property right declarations deciding property lines between neighbors, water rights, those types of things. The circuit court also has jurisdiction over appeals from the district court or appeals from administrative agencies like driver's license appeals, which you may have seen on our YouTube channel. And the circuit court, as the court of general jurisdiction, also has all the family law cases. Now, to handle those, each circuit court has what's called a family division that hears those cases. Those are divorce, custody, parenting time, paternity, child support, as well as PPOs are in the family division, as well as juvenile delinquency and child protection matters. But how each circuit divvies up that work between the judges in that circuit is different depending on where you are in the state. For example, the 3rd Judicial Circuit down in Wayne County, Detroit, has 60 circuit court judges. So they specialize. There might be some circuit court judges that only hear felony crimes, some that hear only civil cases, or some that hear only family cases. There are some that specialize and even only hear a subset of civil cases like business disputes. There's a business law court. By contrast, our court is the 53rd Judicial Circuit. We have 2 counties and 1 judge. So the judges in the smaller counties, they don't have an opportunity to specialize, so to speak. We have to handle any of those cases that falls within that general jurisdiction. But to help even out the docket, there's a little bit of complication to that too. Courts can have what's called a concurrent jurisdiction plan, or a way to share jurisdiction among courts and judges to evenly distribute the caseload. So in our circuit, for example, we have a plan with the probate judge in each county. So Judge Darrell Visnaugh of Sheboygan County and Judge Eric Stone of Presque Isle County are probate judges in their respective counties, but they are also assigned as judges of the family division of the circuit court. And under these plans, for example, this is how it works in our circuit locally. Again, each circuit will be different in this regard. But Judge Visnaugh is assigned to Sheboygan divorces with children and to half of the PPOs and to all of the adoptions, the juvenile delinquencies, and the child protection cases. And in Presque Isle County, Judge Stone handles all of the family division cases. And also, he actually handles all of our civil division cases in Presque Isle County. So that's a plan that we have just to kind of evenly divide the work in our 2 counties. Sometimes you'll see a judge that's handling a matter that's not commonly assigned to them or even to their court. Why would that be? Well, that could be because the judge who typically would hear or be assigned the case is disqualified for some reason, like they're close friends with one of the litigants. So there's a state court administrative office that handles these types of special assignments. So you might see, even though I said Judge Stone handles all of the circuit court matters and the civil matters in Presque Isle County, you might see me doing one. Why would that be? Perhaps Judge Stone is disqualified from hearing the case for some reason or another. So that's a description of the 3 trial courts in Michigan and the types of cases they hear. Again, an oversimplified way to think about this is that the probate court is a specialized court. The district court has limited jurisdiction over cases with smaller stakes, but by no means smaller importance. And the circuit court is the general jurisdiction trial court. But we also have appellate courts. Why do we have that? Well, the answer is easy, because judges are people and people make mistakes. So we have to have a way to correct those mistakes in order to maximize fairness in our legal system. Remember, in the trial court, your case is decided by a single judge, but the losing side can appeal to the Michigan Court of Appeals, where a panel of 3 judges will decide the case by majority vote. There are 24 Court of Appeals judges that hear cases in randomly assigned panels of 3. So that's a way to try to cut down on the mistakes. That's an error correcting function. But even then, the losing side can seek to have the Michigan Supreme Court review the case. Now, just like the United States Supreme Court, the Michigan Supreme Court's role is not to try to correct every mistake that might happen, but to review cases that could help develop the law to assist in a number of cases down the road. So they are limited in the types of cases they'll take that will have importance to the development of the law in the state of Michigan. Now, if the Supreme Court decides to review the case, it's decided by it's decided by 7 judges, which are called justices, and again, by majority vote. Now, these layers, from the trial to the 2 appeals courts, are intended to minimize the chance that legal error will result in an injustice to anyone. No system can completely eliminate injustice because, again, people are involved. But our court system is pretty carefully organized to provide some level of accountability. You know, there's another accountability mechanism is that, for example, the Supreme Court can remove or discipline or suspend any sitting judge who behaves improperly inside or outside the courtroom. But that's, outside the scope of this video on jurisdiction. So I know that some of that information, or maybe all of it, was a little bit dry, but I do hope that it explains the division of labor between the 3 trial courts and how the appellate system works, and helps explain why your particular case would be heard in a particular court. So remember to subscribe to our channel, enable notifications so that you know when we're conducting court or when we post one of these videos here. And if you have any questions about the court system, please put them in the comments to my Ask the Judge video. Or if they pertain to the jurisdiction or the appellate issues that I discussed here, go ahead and put them in the comments to this video. So as always, I'll see you in court.